Ministry of Local Government. I'll be working with the team here. We have a team from the PG Elections Office and our Director of Local Government. Myself and Rachel supporting our Director.
Madam is the Director.
Local Government.
Okay. Hello, Madam.
With us this afternoon is representative from the Fiji Elections Office, Acting Manager Legal, Mr. Mesakin Dawai, who will be giving us a brief presentation on election. And we also have the Director of Local Government, Ms. Bindula Devi, and myself and Rachel, supporting in this support staff for this public consultation. Very briefly, the public consultation program, we will have two presentations, one by the Director of Local Government and Mr. Mesaki. In Madam Director's presentation, there will be two subjects. And the subjects are municipal council election and the rate base, interest rate base change of the review Local Government Act amendment in the Local Government Act with regards to the interest rate on rates. And then we'll follow up with a presentation by Mr. Mesakin Dawai on the details of elections before we give the floor for question and answers. And we'll also give you time to put forward your proposals, your recommendation, or share your thoughts with us with regards to the subjects that will be presented to us. Once again, I take this time to thank you for taking time and come and attend this presentation and share with us what are your thinkings and what are your thoughts or recommendations that we should take on board with regards to the subjects that will be presented this afternoon. I give the floor now to Director of Local Government.
Thank you, Osa, and a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's really good to see that you have taken time out to attend the public consultations. So as Osaya has mentioned, I will be presenting on the municipal elections, and then we are proposing two amendments to the Local Government Act. So I will be briefly talking about that. So to begin with, for the municipal council elections, most of you might know that for any municipality, it's important to have municipal council. It is the highest authority. And of course, we have the enabling legislation, which is the Local Government Act 1972. It acts as a guidance for the local authorities or the municipal councils for the operations and the services provided by the council. The major decisions affecting any municipality are made by the councillors, and the councillors are led by the elected mayor. In terms of the primary responsibility of the councillors, it is important that they provide governance and stewardship to the respective councillors. That is one of the major roles of the councillors. The councillors are expected to oversee the system of corporate governance and financial reporting. So governance is quite important, accountability is important. We expect the councillors to carry out its mandate directly and through other committees as they might appoint from time to time. So they might have different committees that might look at capital infrastructure, the services of the councils, financials of the councils and the operations. We have talked about the Local Government Act. This is the enabling legislation, and it provides for the forms of composition of a council. When we talk about elections globally, we look at elected councils or elected councillors. Municipal elections. So the municipal council elections are supervised by the supervisors' elections, and presiding officers are required to support the electoral roll preparation. The conduct of elections are delegated to these presiding officers, who are usually the provincial administrators or divisional commissioners. So, actually, we are proposing some amendments to the Local Government Act prior to conducting the elections. Mesake, my colleague, will be speaking to you specifically on the reforms that we require. So just to set the stage, it is important that we review the respective sections or provisions of the Local Government Act that has to do with elections. We need to review the regulations and the Electoral Act to understand what are some of the provisions we need to modernize. Because, like you may have noticed, it's a 1972 Act. A lot of developments have taken place, so we need to take those into consideration. We have to identify consistencies and, of course, work on the best process that needs to be followed. We think it's very important that we draft regulations for the municipal elections so that it can guide us as to how we are supposed to carry out the elections. While we were actually going through the Local Government Act, we realized that the councillors' fees and allowances are very, very, very minimal, considering that it's a 1972 Act. So we think it's important to review the allowances and fees for the councillors. It is important then to standardize these fees and allowances so that we are able to set nominal fees and allowances based on the sizes of the council. So it would be small, medium and large councils. But we are happy to hear from you what are some of the suggestions you might give us. Then obviously the review of the suggested provisions of the Act will be in accordance with the new framework that we intend to form so that we are able to carry out the operations effectively. One of the major changes that we are proposing, and of course we look forward to hearing from you, is to increase the term of councillors from 3 years to 4 years. So currently the local government says it should be 3 years, and we are saying it can be 4 years, but happy to discuss. In terms of the electoral system, the system that was used in 2005 was block vote, and my colleague will be taking you through the system very briefly. But after he has presented, we would like to hear from you. What are some of your suggestions of the different systems? Which system you think will be appropriate for the municipal elections? Because remember, the last one happened in 2005. And things have happened. Whether block vote is appropriate or not, let's hear from you. So to guide the councillors, we believe it's very important that we have set guidelines, policies to guide them, because it's very important that the councillors are able to understand the operations of municipal councils and what are some of the things they need to be mindful of while they are thinking about providing the services demanded by the ratepayers or the residents in their respective municipalities. Having said that, we believe that we need proper financial management policies, risk management policy, project management policy, because municipal councils are into capital infrastructure. So we thought it important to review some of the existing policies and make sure that it meets the demands that we have. And then of course anti-corruption. We want to ensure accountability and governance at all times. Human resource policies. How do we recruit officers? What is the criteria that we should have in place? What are some of the actions or methods of appeal if there is any dispute? Where should the officers go? How should we handle disputes at a workplace? So those are some of the things we thought are important. And of course it's important to have standard operating procedures because we need to monitor the way we do business. And it's important that we have guidelines that can assist the officers to deliver appropriately. In terms of the electoral roll preparations, we propose to be by electronic means, but we are open for suggestions. Face-to-face at various centers over 2 weeks. National voter ID to be the primary reference point, and the registration form shall be approved by the Electoral Commission as per the Local Government Act. In conclusion on municipal elections, the ministry believes that we need to carry out fair, transparent and appropriate municipal elections for the benefit of ratepayers and residents of the respective municipalities. Ladies and gentlemen, your contribution towards this electoral process is fundamental. We want to hear from you. What are your suggestions? What are your concerns? So that we are aware of those suggestions and concerns, and we can seek guidance from the Cabinet at the end of the day. We stand ready to hear your views and concerns this afternoon. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Madam President.
So the other discussion that we wanted to have this afternoon are 2 amendments that we are proposing to the Local Government Act. This is to do with the retirement age of the municipal council officers rather. And 2, we would like to change the compound interest rate on the rates that the ratepayers pay. So according to section 78, it's 11%, and we think it's too much. Because we realize a lot of ratepayers face hardship, and they are into paying the interest rate which keeps on accumulating, what we call compound interest. So we would like to change it to simple interest. I'm sorry, we are having some technical glitch and we cannot put the other slides on, but I will take you briefly as to what those changes specifically are. So for the retirement age, as we know, the government policy has changed. For the civil servants, it's now 60 years from the 55 years we used to have. Then appropriate amendments have been made to the civil service regulations. Now, the Ministry of Local Government intends to amend the retirement age for the municipal council officers. So that would be again from 55 to 60. And we want to hear from you this afternoon whether you think it should be 55 or you're happy with the proposal that we have is for 60 years. We already have a cabinet decision whereby the cabinet has approved the proposal to amend the retirement age for municipal councils from 55 to 60. We have already drafted a bill to that effect, and we believe it's very important that we have this consultation so that we can go back to the cabinet and show that we have done the consultation and this is what the public wants, or this is what the municipal council officers want. So there are certain changes that we are proposing. So one is from 55 years to 60 years. And in the bill, we are trying to delete the sections which is talking about 55 years, because we now want to say it's 60 years. And for the in terms of the application, we have a provision where it says that it will not apply to any officer who reaches the age of 60 years before the commencement of this act, means the Local Government Act. Now, for the commencement date, we are proposing to have that gazetted, and the Minister for Local Government will actually determine the date of the commencement of the act. So, in terms of the bill or the legislation, we already have a provision in the Local Government Act whereby the Cabinet Secretary of the local government has powers to approve the re-engagement of those officers who have reached their retirement age. Currently, it's 55 years. So when the amendments take place, it will be 60 years. So after 60 years, if the municipal councils think a person has the expertise that's required and is actually having difficulty recruiting certain skilled officers, then we will apply the particular section in the Local Government Act whereby the permanent secretary will give approval for the re-engagement. Of course, it's gonna be for a fixed term. It can be 3 months, it can be 6 months, because it's important that we obviously get new recruits once we have identified them, having followed the legislation and the policies. So the other change that we require, as I've mentioned, is section 78, which talks about the rate where the overdue bears interest at a rate of 11% per annum. So today we want to hear from you whether you think the 11% is too much or you're happy with that. If you think it's too much, then probably you could give us a figure as to what you think should be the percentage that should be charged. And of course, the formula will be simple interest. So you think if whether you think simple interest is good or compound interest is good, or the 11% is okay. If not, then what is the percentage? Or probably you can guide us on the formula we could use. And the other change in respect to the interest rate will be that we will have regulations, and the specific range of rates or that one particular figure will be spelled in the regulations. Because it's much easier to amend the regulations, but we are happy to hear. And that's my presentation for this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Okay, Bulabinaka everyone. My name is Rakiraki. I'm currently the acting manager legal at the Fijian Elections Office. I've been with the FEO.
Sorry, we're just trying to connect with Salvo as well. There's another consultation happening in Salvo.
Just as Director mentioned, so right now we are connecting with our colleagues from Ottawa Town Council who are also having consultations at this time. So just a brief on my presentation, I'll be basically explaining what the electoral processes are under the Local Government Act of 1972. And I believe for Rakiraki, you've never had municipal council elections. And since it had been declared a town, so now that local government elections will be introduced, apologies for that. So basically, the overview of my presentation, I'll be touching on the FEO mandate, what our mandate is as an election management body, the local government elections framework, what laws govern elections in Fiji, the electoral boundaries, which are very important. So I'm only touching on these four main areas that are very pertinent to running an election. So I'll look at the electoral boundaries, voter or elector qualifications, the councillors' qualifications, who can stand for the elections basically, their eligibility, as well as the electoral system that's currently in place under the Local Government Act of 1972. Now the FEO mandate, we're established, the FEO is established under Section 9 of the Electoral Act of 2014. And basically our mandate is to conduct general elections, trade union elections, and municipal council elections as provided under Section 154 of the Electoral Act of 1972. Also, part of the responsibility of the FEO is to register eligible voters for the general election and also for local government elections, register electors for that. Also register political parties and candidates for the general election. Now, the local government elections framework, the laws that govern elections in Fiji, we have the Electoral Act of 2014, the Local Government Act of 1972, and the Local Government Elections Regulations of 1972. So, given that we're now going to hold local government elections in Fiji, these laws of 1972 will need to be reviewed, which is why we are holding this consultations process to get your feedback and your views on how you want local government elections to be conducted. And my presentation is nothing that the FEO is proposing, but it's something that's already existing in legislation, and we're just here to just briefly update you on what the current processes are that are in place under the Local Government Act of 1972. So moving on, my electoral boundaries. Now, electoral boundaries are important for any elections, and under the Local Government Act of 1972, we have boundaries in the form of wards. So for big cities like Suva and Lautoka, their boundaries are divided up into 4 or 5 depending on the population. And for small towns, some of them would have only 1 ward. So each town being compared to other towns and cities depending on their size and where their boundaries lie, it would differ. It would not be the same all throughout. So currently under the 1972 Act, the Electoral Commission has the responsibility of dividing towns into wards. They can redefine the wards, they can create any new wards, but only if the Minister of Local Government requests them to do so. And so also in addition to what the Electoral Commission does, they determine the number of councillors for each ward. So we've been going around last week. We've been to, we held consultations in Suva, Lautoka, in Lambasa, and Lebuka. We've gotten feedbacks, like people have been saying, oh, increase the number of councillors for our towns, or reduce, it's too much. Or even if you feel you need to determine how many councillors you should have for your town, do let us know the number that you prefer. So we've been getting that feedback as we've gone along. And we would like to hear from you on the composition of your council, how many members you want. So, which is why we are holding these consultations. Now, the voter or elector qualification under the Local Government Act, in order to be eligible to vote or to elect a councillor, you must be over the age of 21 years. You must be a citizen of Fiji. You must be an occupier or owner of land within the municipality. And if you're registered to be an elector, you can only enroll in respect of the ward in which you occupy or own land. Some of us may be residing in one particular place, but own properties in other places, in other towns. You will only register from the place that you're residing from. And you can only be eligible to vote or contest the election from within that municipality. I believe our director had mentioned this in regards to the voting age. The age of 21 years given in the Act, that will need to be amended and reduced to 18 years to be in line with the Constitution. The Constitution gives the voting age as 18 years. For the national elections, and just for consistency purposes, this will need to be amended to adhere to that provision in the Constitution. Again, we are holding consultations. If you feel that you don't agree with that, we've received some disagreements from members of the public saying, no, it should remain at 21. Do let us know what you think you want. What should be the age. Also, in regards to occupier or owner of land, we've had a lot of discussions around this area. Occupiers also include tenants. If you're renting within the municipal boundaries, you're eligible to vote. Remember, some of the tenants, they pay rates in the form of the rent that they pay. I'd just like to clarify, to be an elector, there's no requirement that you must be a ratepayer. As long as you hold a legal standing within the municipality, you rent or you own a building, you're eligible to vote. There have been discussions around informal settlements and squatter settlements, whether they qualify to vote for local government elections. Under the current setup in the 1972 Act, those residing in informal settlements and squatter settlements, they do not qualify to vote. So again, you tell us whether they should vote or whether they should not vote. We are here to listen to your feedback and your views on this particular matter. So one of the requirements under the Act is if you are a voter, your name cannot appear in more than one electoral roll. So basically, wherever you're residing from, you can only register to vote from that particular area. If you see that the current setup for voter registration under the Local Government Act, previously registration would only be conducted in the year that voting took place. So it's not like the current national registration that we have, voter registration for the national elections, where registration is continuous, where you have a voter roll that we just keep updating. But in the current system, every year that voting has to take place, only that year that registration is also carried out. Now, councillors' qualification. Who can be a councillor? Basically, who can contest a local government election or a municipal council election? First of all, you must be a citizen of Fiji. You must be enrolled as an elector. And another criteria that's given under the 1972 Act is you must be an elector who can read or write or speak in any one or more of the English, Itauki, or Hindustani languages. Again, you can see the requirement from the 1972 Act that will also be reviewed. So do let us know what you feel the qualifications should be. We've been hearing submissions on people saying, oh, you should set a standard where those holding degrees should contest the elections. So do not be limited to the qualifications that are given in this slide. If you feel that there are additional qualifications that need to be set as to who can be a councillor, do let us know and do give us your feedback. The Act is quite specific as to who cannot be a councillor. So I'll just take you through the given requirements. So a person who is under any acknowledgement of allegiance, obedience, or adherence to any power outside of state, outside of Fiji, they cannot contest the election, or they do not qualify to be a councillor. In simple terms, basically anyone who holds dual citizenship, they can't contest. That's under that. If I have to simplify it and explain it to you in layman's terms, that's what it basically means. If you hold dual citizenship, you do not qualify to contest the elections. If anyone who has been declared bankrupt, they can't qualify. Anyone who's under a sentence of imprisonment for a term exceeding 12 months, anyone who has been declared of unsound mind, and anyone holding or acting in a public office, so basically civil servants, they do not qualify. Secondly, anyone disqualified from membership of a council under any law in force in Fiji relating to offences connected with elections. Anyone who's been a member of the Electoral Commission or from the Office of the Supervisor of Elections 3 years before being nominated. Anyone who holds or acts in an office for which the functions involve any responsibility for or in connection with the conduct of any election to a council. Also, any person who holds any paid office other than mayor, under or within the control of the council or any committee thereof, and any person who has ceased for a continuous period of 12 months to reside and own or occupy land in the municipality in which he or she was ordinarily resident at the time of his or her election as a councillor. So basically, these are some of these qualifications of being a councillor. If you are of unsound mind, you've been declared bankrupt, you do not qualify to contest the elections. And the electoral system that we currently use is quite specific in the Act. We use a block vote method. So in this method, each voter casts the same number of votes to the number of vacant councillor positions. So just for example, I'll give you a scenario. If Rakiraki Town Council, say, holds local government elections or municipal council elections, and the number of councillors to be elected is 6, there are 6 vacant councillor positions. If a voter goes into the polling station, they select 6 people from the ballot papers, so they cast 6 votes. As opposed to what we have in the national elections, where we have 1 person, 1 vote, 1 value, but with the block vote method, that's the current method that we use. And if we look at all the town councils and city councils around Fiji, the number of councillors are more than 5. So this is the method that we have. Now, in terms of determining the results, it's through first past the polls. That is, majority number of votes is declared the winner. So basically, if you're going to elect 6 councillors from Rakiraki, the top 6 councillors with the highest votes get elected. This is the current electoral system that's in place, but do let us know what system you want. How would you like the municipal council elections to be run with some of these requirements? Just as I've stated, this is nothing that the FEO is proposing, but I'm just explaining what the current setup is. And it's for you to tell us how you want the elections to be run. Because this is the reason why we are holding consultations. We are here to hear from you regarding your electoral process for municipal council elections. So, just to conclude, local government elections are important for any democracy, and it's basically through consultations such as this that, and for any democracy to determine any rules, it's made up by the people, which is why we're holding consultations to gather your views on what you want the rules should be for municipal council elections. So that's just to conclude my presentation and our presentation from the panel, the consultation team, from Director Local Government and myself. And we are also joined from PS Local Government and a representative from the Office of the Solicitor General in Tavua who are connecting to us through Google Meet. So we are happy to take any questions and submissions to hear from you on what you would like us to take on board in terms of conducting local government elections. So, Vinaka, I'll hand it over back to Hassan.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now have the floor open. You must have already heard the presentation that gives us more inside information on the subjects that we are holding consultation on. And before I go any further, I'd like to also take this time to inform us that we will also be accepting written submission. For those of you that are not able to give us some proposal today, we will be also accepting written submissions, which will close on the 15th of this month. Rachel has got the email address. If you are interested, you can pick up the email address so that you can later on send us a written submission on what are your thoughts about the presentation that has already been done this afternoon. And the second point that I would also like to inform, there is recording happening on this consultation. The main reason is that we do not want to, we want to capture all the discussion that is going to be discussed this afternoon, so that when the team heads back to office, we'll compile all the ideas, the proposal, and it will be submitted to a working group that will further analyze it before it is put to cabinet. On that note, I now would like to take your proposals, or if there are clarifications on the presentations that you have just done. Please feel free to share your thoughts. This is an open discussion. There is no right, there is no wrong. We are here to discuss on the upcoming events with regards to municipal council elections, review of rates for interest rates on arrears, and extension of municipal council workers retiring age from 55 to 60. So.
Then I know the number of wards we will be having for Rakiraki.
So currently, given that Rakiraki is a new town under the Local Government Act, that responsibility rests with the Electoral Commission. So once submission is made to the Electoral Commission to do a review, they will then determine the number of wards, yes, based on the population, and taking into account the boundaries, the town boundary. Sorry, just to, before you ask your question, can you please state your name, just for our record keeping purposes, because we are noting down your submissions.
Well, I'm Praveen from Ratumami, Rakiraki. Is there any thought or any decision made or whatever to increase the boundary? We would like to know if you have any idea, if you have in mind to increase the boundary.
Thank you, sir, for that question. Just to guide everyone, yes, because you may be aware that now the municipal councils have delegated areas that they are servicing. So it is important that we extend those boundaries or areas so that we can have them included in the actual town boundary or the municipality, what we call. So what we have is a local government committee that is actually looking into the extension of boundaries and have it properly gazetted or regulated. If I may ask the CEO of Rakiraki, I understand you have done a submission to the committee. Right. And we are waiting for the proclamation as well, the PP, the proclamation plan for Rakiraki town, rightly highlighted by Mr. Dawai. So Rakiraki was declared a town in 2010. Yes. So we have to work around the words, and we will be guided by you this afternoon as to what are some of the criteria you think should be included in terms of determining the words. If you have suggestions, we are happy to take, to hear you actually. Thank you.
Well, I'm still on line. Is there any cost involved for the voters to register for voting and the candidates who will want to contest for the council seat?
Under the Local Government Act, the candidates registration, which is the nominations process, is currently $20. That's from 1972. Now, as we were going around, some people have proposed that it should be increased to $200, but we are open to hear what your thoughts are. In regards to elector or voter registration, there are no required fees. It's only that you satisfy the requirements which are given in the Act, and you register for free.
Well, I will suggest that we go for block voter method, which have been also suggested by your good office. And that's all from me, Dr.
Thank you, sir. Do you have any suggestions for the retirement age or the amendments to on the rate areas? Interest rate, sorry? The defaulting interest rate.
Yes, we should go for simple interest rate where the ratepayers they don't feel the pinch at the bottom of their pocket.
Any figure you have, sir, or any formula you think would be appropriate? Sorry, I just have to explore because while we have everybody, it's important that we hear each other out now because I'm taking notes and I have to take this back to Office of the Solicitor General before we actually do the amendments. Thank you.
Well, at the moment it's 11%. I think it should be brought down to at least 5%.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, and your views on the retirement age? What's up? Views on the retirement age?
Views on the retirement age for municipal council workers? Proposing the executives. Thank you.
Retirement age increase? Did you say 65 or 60? So increase the retirement age, did you say no?
Thank you. First of all, can I say thank you for your nice presentations. I'm Shanti Lal, a retired school teacher. I'm here to suggest that or support your proposals of increasing the retirement age from 55 to 60 in line with the Cabinet's decision. Let's all be on the same page. And also, your proposals in regards to the interest charge to the defaulters, especially with the rates, I'd like to suggest that we go to, or do away with the compound interest and adopt the simple interest system. And I'd also like to support what the previous speaker said, maybe 5 or 6%. I suppose the voter registrations, I would like to request everybody present in here, once the registration starts, make sure that we reach out to everybody so that all of our voters, eligible voters, do register and have a say in the town council elections. Thank you.
So do you have any views on the requirements or the qualifications for voters that have been presented on? Are there any objections to the requirements that we have?
I would go along with the figures that are there, the current figures that are there.
Thank you, sir. I think you are very clear in terms of the changes that you think is appropriate. Thank you.
I think you brought up about voters. To include also in my submission the squatters. Most of them are staying in the town area more than 20 years. I brought my friend here.
Did you say Natal, sir?
What's it?
Natal area?
My friend here has been there, just a few meters away from here, for 82 years. They have a say. They should have a say in the town. Because I think the Rakiraki town, it is in the pocket boundaries like that. Most of the squatters are living there. And also, those municipal council. I mean, those voting in the council, so we increased our age 60 to 65.
So why do you think it should be 65 and not 60 like the civil servants?
Most of civil servants, they working more than, some of them are 70. You know, they're working 70.
Special cases.
Yeah.
Uh,
Should include them there.
Second,
Second, should SDK.
thank you.
When you talk about civil servants, some of them more than 70 or 80.
So on the third one, any comments or suggestions on the interest rate, the defaulting interest rate that you would
No
like
more
to?
interest.
Sorry,
No more, eh?
normal interest rate?
Yes.
Do you have a range?
5% or 6%.
5 to 6%.
6.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're ready.
Thank you very much, the Director of Local Government from the Elections Office, the Lobster, the police. What I suggest has been spoken by the previous speakers. But before going to that, Madam, any institute that matter, the accountability and transparency is very, very important. When we see and we hear that millions of dollars are being misused in the council affairs, it's really a pain to us. It's really a pain to us. And I suggest that after the elections, the mayor has been chosen, the councillors have been chosen, there should be a special department in the local government to audit the reports every 6 months. What I'm trying to say, Madam, is the poor taxpayers pay the rates. But when it's been misused, the funds have been misused, it's really a pain. The poor ratepayers' money goes to the bill. A very good example is in Latoka, the swimming pool. There are many that are. But you know, my point is that any government, no matter its local government or any other ministry is concerned, very, very important is the Auditor General's report. And for the local government, Madam, it is your power. In any government, there are two ministries that have more power than the CEO. Is the Ministry for Lands, the Director of Lands, and the Director of Local Government. They've got more powers than the CEO. Now, my request to you, Madam, is when these elections has been completed, there must be audits every 6 months to be done with transparency and accountability. There are many misuse of funds also in our Rakiraki Council. But here I stand to thank our CEO and the workers for the great job. If you see in the morning the way that the town is so clean, the boys on the streets, they don't have much funds, but they have done the job. Coming to the interest rates, I suggest myself, I'm Josh Shiraj from Rakiraki. Madam, probably would be 5%. Simple interest. We want to clear up the debts that are there. It is very, very important, the minds of our ratepayers. Once you rent up a place, your first priority is to pay the rent. Similarly, it is your priority to pay the rent. Once the rent is not being paid, the development is not being done. So my request over here is to reduce to 5% simple interest and pay the rates. I request, I want to see that my Rakiraki town council should be the minimum that's in all throughout Fiji. Coming to what I have just said about the audit reports is very, very important. We have seen that previously those reserved places has been given to the people to build up houses. It should not happen, madam. But if the auditors were there every 6 months or every 3 months, probably 6 months, I would say, 3 months, that would not have happened. Zero will vouch for me, and I have got properties in the town. We work day and night to develop Rakiraki. And we have done it with all employments that we have given as businessmen. And I think Rakiraki is doing very, very well. Rakiraki is doing very, very well as far as our business is concerned in all the sectors. In the graveling, in the supermarket, in the law firms, canteens. So, we are doing our share. But the only thing is I'm requesting to the taxpayers that please pay the rates. And when it comes to 5% or probably 4%, then I would see that those tenants that are in areas, taxpayers that are in areas will pay. But once it's 11%, madam, it will be very, very hard. Rakiraki has a source of income from the sugar industry, which is probably about 120,000 tons this year. And not like in Namaka or in Latoka or in Suba or in Nasino, where they have got all sorts of sources of income. So this is my real request, madam, that might be 4 to 5%. Simple. I've got also properties in Nasino. Nasino is a big area, and we pay our. That's our vision. It is very, very important for citizens of our beloved nation that once these are, madam, if you go to the rural areas, the way people are staying, we stay here in the urban areas. If somebody is sick in the rural areas, maybe in Sego or maybe in Alawa, you must have about more than $150 in your pocket to bring up a sick man. But here, just in $5, $8, we reach our subdivision hospitals. So these are the advantage. Once you have all this advantage, it is your prime duty to pay the rent, do the TLTV, do the ground land, pay your rent to your landlord, and simply you pay the rates to the house. It is very good. This is when I was a minister, I've been to Canada. I've seen the local government, how they operate in there, madam. And my suggestion is, madam, a retired school teacher, I was just talking, Mr. Shantila. If you tell him to come back and get into the education, he'll be a very better man to give education to a lot of our children. But unfortunately, the previous government came to 55 at the time. Now it's 60. I suggest if council elections to be 65. 65 in New Zealand, Australia, you see people are working 70, 75 years. And they're doing very well. They're doing very well. And once you are sick, should be another, that once you contest these elections, your medical report should also be given. Medical report should also be given. Maybe a person who is 57 years old, and he's a sick man. And there is a guy, there's a gentleman who is 70 years, he's not a sick man. So, Madam Director, where I'm coming from, you would understand, madam. A person who is 70 years and he's a good, healthy man, he should also fight the election so that he can contribute to not only for Rakiraki but as a nation at large. This is my request to you, madam. And a very important point that I've just put is audit is very, very important. Millions of dollars are being wasted. Just imagine, madam, here people owe $100, $150. They can't just because, of the hardship that we are going through in our country. You as a very senior citizen, you will understand that this year the free price to collect $3 billion and the expenditure itself is $3 billion. So it's even, not development. That is why you see big potholes on the street, on the roads. This is because there's no money. There's no money. $11 billion is our debt. I was talking to the Minister for Finance, telling this, we don't want you to build up any task force, but just to fill up the form. But these are very, very important matters. But CEO is doing his part, everybody is doing his part, but at the end of the day, it is the money person. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Just to clarify on the retirement age, so the retirement age is not for the councillors. What we are amending is the retirement age of the council officers, including the chief executive officer. So are you still saying it should be 65, or do you think the proposal that we have before you for 60 years is appropriate?
65.
65.
There are many civil servants, Madam Director, are so good people. Look at our retired school teacher. He's based in New Zealand. He would have done better. But unfortunately, the law is there. For you, madam, I would not ask your age, but you might go for another, so healthy looking, go for another 150, 20 years. But unfortunately, the law is there. Actually, madam, where are you from? Which district?
I'm from Nasino,
Oh,
born and bred. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Do we have any more suggestions, concerns?
Another question.
Bulawinaka, hello to everyone, and I welcome the local government reps from Suva in Rakiraki today. My name is Rakiraki, and I'm a ratepayer resident in Batumami area. Today I stay here for most of our ratepayers from Batumami area and Thompson Place as they have requested me to come. Thank you for the presentation. First of all, it was really good. My first question is why we are changing from administration to going into councillors for Rakiraki to have a mayor. First thing. Secondly, if it's the benefit for the ratepayers, I would welcome it. And how it will benefit us in terms of work in town, council town area. Why I'm saying this, Rakiraki is being declared town from past 13 years. It's not a new place. 13 years, it's long time. It is the age of a teenager now. And we haven't seen any development apart from Rakiraki Market, which was done by UNDP. We haven't seen any other development. Instead of development, the places where commercial areas were given for parks and other things, it's been taken by town council, given to people whom we do not know. It's become a resident area. We are so much, there's no electricity even in the streets. We walk in darkness. Compared to us, we go into our Nalawa people, our people from that side, they have lights within their streets. It just looks like a city where they stay. But us, we are in darkness. Our roads is deteriorating. That place Rakiraki town development started in 1995. 1996, my ancestors, they were there to say, yes, we want it to be declared town. After that, the roads which was developed, the boundaries which was marked, that's been done. There are people staying there without a proper title even. And town has been declared, nothing has been done to them till today. They don't own a title. They want to renovate, they want to do something to their house, they cannot do it. But we are in town area. Apart from collecting rubbish, we do not see anything else happening in this place. People are so much depressed. As you see the amount of people, this is not the amount of people who pay town rate. There's a big number, but they have lost confidence in town council. And coming up with the town rate, people are paying the land lease lesser than the town rate to be paid, honestly speaking. They pay more town rate, but nothing is done. We pay lease, we use that land. But we pay to town council for what reason, we do not know. Nothing we know about it. No update, nothing even during COVID. There was no fumigation, nothing done, no spray within the community. Only thing we come to know at bus stand, we get the hand sanitizer and they ask us to use the mask. That was the only thing. Today, we are happy that you people are here to let us know what is going to happen. But we also want to know how far it will go, what changes will be there if town council, mayor comes and the wards, I tell you as my brother Praveen has asked, there were other wards. At the moment, it's Batumami, Thompson Place, town area, and Korwanga. Wairuku, which is most developed place, is it out of town boundary. It was in town boundary. They voted to go out. Dola C, these areas, Nangoro, Nandovi, all these people have gone out of town boundary now. Talking about the ward, we do not know how many wards we have. Doing the vote for the town councillors to come into the place, we do not know how it will go. In fact, we are really in limbo at the moment. We are confused what is happening because we were happy to see that email coming for the meeting today. Otherwise, we are just forgotten people, only comes for the rate. So many of them, they are so frustrated, they do not want to pay the rate because they pay their land lease, because they are using the land. Nothing else has been done. The grass cutting, the owners of the land, the people who are residing there, they do it on their own. Occasional grass cutting is done by town councils. Look at the drain, it's not been cleaned. During the rainy season, you see the place flooding. Roads which was developed in 95, it's deteriorating now, but nothing is done to make it well for people because they are paying town rate too. Amount of stealing going on, people are insecure in their own areas, but town council is asking for town rate. They ask us to pay the town rate, but we do not know for what reason. If we are secured, it is peaceful, we are happy, development is taking place, beautifying the place, we'll be happy to pay. Town even is full of dust. Places where manholes, it's leaking, many. You go behind the Adam supermarket and you'll know the real stench. People are walking there. There's steps from Uluta ground going down towards the supermarkets. It was an access for people to cross. Now it is closed. I can take you now and show it. Just because the steps were broken, they could not maintain those steps. It's a wooden step. And what they did, they just closed the place. People don't have access now. Old people coming to agriculture and other places, now they have to go right round to reach to the supermarkets in Max Valley or New World and other communities that side. Like, there is nothing of maintenance going on. We thank you that you coming with a proposal today. And I would suggest, please, we will be writing a submission as we have been told. We will be doing from Batumami area and Thompson Place, we will be doing a written submission to the local government. with all our concerns and what we think, because the question which is being asked on retirement and other thing, let them also voice out their opinion on that. But for me, as retirement age, I would like to know the council officers who are included. Is the only office workers or the ones who are working outside as?
It's both established and unestablished at the councils.
So because the unestablished, I would suggest keep them at 55. The work is not that easy.
Unestablished?
Unestablished. The work is not that easy for them, and then we cannot demand things. But yes, established workers, they can go till 60 years. Secondly, the rates for the defaulting rates, thank you. It can be at 5%, please, so that people are able to pay. Simple interest rate. And one thing is the way I'd like it to be clarified, like it's good you said the rent, the people who are paying rent and they're staying there, they can come for election. So why not the ones like our brother sitting here, the squatter area, because they have been there. These people who are renting, they can rent for 2-3 years and they move. But the unestablished places where people are not really into the titles yet, they have been there for 30 years and more. So if even they can be allowed, or something can be done for their land, for them to receive their titles, so that they have something to own. With these things, I'd like to thank you for being here today, and I hope our voice will be heard.
Thank you, Madam, for your contribution. So, for the complaints or the matters that you have raised this evening, we have the CEO of the Rakiraki Town Council who's here, and I'm sure he has heard your concerns, and he will definitely get his team to look into that, because we also believe those are serious matters, and beautification of Rakiraki Town is important. Madam, just to answer your question as to why from SAs to the councillors, this is the coalition government's initiative. They believe, and we believe it's important, that we give ratepayers your councillors so that your voices could be appropriately heard. And you have mentioned that the only development in Rakiraki Town so far that you've seen is the Rakiraki market. If I may correct you, it was an UNDP. This was government-funded project, partially or co-funded by UN Women. So we had to rely on the government at the end of the day for the funds in the previous years. We are currently doing that, and we might have to do that a bit before we can get our councils to be independent. So to answer your question, for the appointment of the special administrators and for the election of the elected councillors, both are provided for in the Local Government Act. We want to give you the ownership. So you will have the opportunity to get your people at the council, and you might like to see the changes that they will be bringing for your benefit and for the benefit of other ratepayers. You have mentioned some roads have been deteriorating. CEO, I think that's a matter that you could look into. Apart from that, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam, coming to what Madam has just said, really got for statements and views. I just want to ask one question to the CEO. To the CEO, what is the amount that is in areas on our ratepayers in the area?
Currently it's around 81,000.
But I think, CEO, those are mainly your commercial ratepayers and not the residential. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Residential.
A bit of residential and more of commercial. Right. So Rakiraki Town Council happens to be our small council, And I'm sure, CEO, you would be working on the methods, mechanisms to recover those arrears. So having said that, we have provided a rates amnesty period whereby we would like to encourage the ratepayers, and you can take the votes around. So rates amnesty period is basically from effective date is from 1st January to 31st July 2023, whereby if you pay your principal amount, and this is like the arrears, you will not be required to pay the interest. So you just have to pay the principal amount minus the interest. And this applies to all the arrears that you may have. We are doing awareness raising as well on this, and you can please contact Rakiraki Town Council to understand how the amnesty actually works.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director, just one suggestion, madam. Is any government projects, 99.9% government projects, always there is a variation. When this building has been made, I think the CEO would know that it was in millions of dollars variation. Once in our private sector, madam, once we build up a building in the town and we give a contract to the contractor to build up with the agreement of the solicitors, yeah, there might be a variation, but a small amount. But once you see, madam, when millions of dollars taxpayers' money is being wasted, madam, and the poor people are paying the rates, just imagine that, madam. That is why I'm always, Director, you are a very educated woman, that's why you are there. The audits are very, very important, madam. You see the Fiji National University building in Labasa. There were millions of dollars wasted. The swimming pool in Lachoka, millions of dollars being wasted. This building at Leetle has been made. There were variations of millions of dollars. This should not have happened, madam. That is why I said, in every ministry concept, there must be audits. There must be an audit report to be given. And that is very, very important. All of a sudden, the auditor has to come and inspect the place. In the private sector, the auditors don't tell you that I'm coming today. No, never. So the most important of government institute or the private sector, we are running our own shop. We are very, very strict. We take our stock takings, we do in the private sector very, very well. FMR, Pujas, the Motivite, Tapus, all audits, there's special division. But there are division of audits within the government, auditor general. But when the report comes over, you see the misuse of funds. And these people are not being charged. There are white-collar crime in that, but still they are not being charged. A very good example, madam, I just told. There was a place in Batumami reserved for the park, children's park. But what happened? It was being given to a person to build up a house there. The last time the Honorable Minister in the first government, Honorable Premila, mentioned this. They were ratepayers mentioned that, and she agreed. But nothing is to be done. So these people are just on the streets doing what is not to be done by the laws of the country. They are just on the streets, running on the streets. That is why, Director, I request to you, now we are going into election. Mayors will be judged. Anybody they judge. See, at the end of the day, there are, for human beings, there are three things very important. Your religion, your hard work, and your honesty. If you are not there, you might make millions of dollars. of misuse of funds, you can make millions of dollars. But you must know, according to the religion of Bible, Hinduism, Islam, anybody who misuses the funds of the taxpayers or that matter anyone, a day will come, him and the family will suffer. But people don't understand all those things. They just want to grab and make money. So my request to you, Director, that now that the mayors are, audits are very, very important. So you see the swimming pool in $12 million, madam. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. I'm not required to respond, but very briefly for the Lotoka swimming pool, so we have not actually used that amount. What we have been talking about is the estimated cost of the Lotoka swimming pool. So rest assured, it's not gone to a waste. We will have a swimming pool fairly soon, hopefully. We are trying to get some matters sorted. So rest assured, there is no wastage. Secondly, on the audit, we are trying to reorganize our structure, and the intention is to have an audit division which will audit the municipal council accounts. Not that we have not been doing that. Most of the things that we are hearing this afternoon are legacy issues, and we have worked very, very, very hard to make sure that we have implemented the audit issues that have been highlighted by the Office of the Auditor General. The hard work is continuing, and we intend to improve the way the municipal councils operate. And in terms of the auditing of the municipal councils, we have internal officers who are actually going out to the municipal councils to audit their accounts and to understand how their financials are. So we have already started the work. We have developed a finance policy which is guiding the municipal councils. But once we have the councillors on board, we want to make sure that we have enhanced those policies.
Just another question, Madam, to the CEO. Previous year and this year, to the CEO, what percentage of the funds that was being given to your council on operation of Rakiraki? Yes. What any funds that was being given by the government?
So just repeat your question again for the CEO.
CEO, what percentage of the funds that was being given by the government to operate your council? Any funds every year?
Yes, sir. I think from 2020, there's a grant being given as assistance for COVID. And currently we are receiving it from the government. That's for marketing and the TSP fees. Currently we are receiving that assistance from the government.
But directly, any funds have been given for your operations?
Only for the field
Service and PSP and market call fees.
That is a problem. That is a problem. After 13 years, the council was built by here. But you know that the cat came in front of the house. That was a problem. It's because the funds was not big. And they can market. That's what I said. You know, when I was saying for a quick fight, there was a lot of money. But you go and see there are places in town, the cleanness that has been done, and also like Madam has mentioned about the drainage at the back of Aga. I think it's in a very bad health hazard. So, but they are trying their very best. I would not try to blame them up. CEO is doing very well, their staff are trying to do things with a limited amount of money. Now, what you have just mentioned that in June, before June, that if that 81,000 will be paid, there won't be any
July.
in July.
31st July.
July.
This
So
year.
there wasn't any knowledge that will be paid. So that message has to go to NCO. That message to be written to all the ratepayers.
Residential ratepayers.
Residential. That money will come over, will be a very great benefit for the development of the house and behind. Thank you very much.
Sorry, just further to what Ms. Shea had, just going back to your comment on special administrators. So under the law, it says as soon as the election date is determined by the electoral commission, the special administrators role will also stop. So that's already given in the Local Government Act. And if you would remember, special administrators, they came into place in 2008 under the previous administration. And just like how you said, for Rakiraki it's quite new. We don't know what to expect from municipal council. But as a form of international best practice around the world, and in any democracy, government is given to the people, so they run their own councils and make decisions for the people. So for 16 years, we haven't had local government in any of the towns and cities, and this is what the government is trying to restore back power to the people, to run and govern their own councils and make decisions and policies in relation to any development that they would like to carry out. So, which is why we are holding these consultations to have that process finalized in terms of the rules governing the elections, and just to have that process set in place just to facilitate the process of democracy, which is the elections process.
Yeah. Just another suggestion, madam. Another suggestion, maybe a question to you, madam. Did you ever get an opportunity to visit the councils in Canada or in Australia and all those places? You have a vast experience, madam, yourself?
Not to Canada, but I have made a visit to New Zealand, but it was a short stint. It was just a week where we were actually explained as to how the councillors operate and how the system is, but very briefly.
You should go to places like in Canada, places like in Australia. You know, you get vast experience at how they operate. And I tell you, madam, once our mayors are invited to go in there, there will be a lot of changes, I tell you, when I've been to Toronto, I tell you, as a minister, they briefly explain to us how they run their, and they are doing marvelous. They're doing marvelous. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Raj. Just to comment on that, in this consultations process, we're also looking to other jurisdictions and comparing what practices they have. We will also get feedback and see what systems we can adopt that is suitable for the conduct of elections. And also, I believe the local government, Department of Local Government is also doing their own consultations. For us at the elections, we also are doing our own consultations in regards to fine-tuning the procedures for elections.
Thank you, Ms. Sake. If I may add on, so we are also working with the Commonwealth Local Government Forum in terms of the systems and processes that could guide us globally, used globally. And only this morning we managed to meet with the local government New Zealand to understand the systems that they have, because the elections was quite recent, which was last October. So that might be very helpful for us. Then we are also working with civil society organizations. We have Dialogue Fiji and International IDEA. So International IDEA will be joining us in Nandi and Simutoka for the consultations. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anna Naibo from Batumani. My contribution to this platform this evening concerning the rate,
Defaulting rate.
the defaulting rate. I'm just thankful that I'm hearing that you're giving us how many months default? 6 months?
Sorry, the consultation that we are having this evening is on the change of the defaulting interest rate. Currently it's 11%. So we, probably you can tell us whether the 11% is good, or do you want to have it reduced and from compound interest to simple interest? Do you think it's a good idea? The bit that I have spoken about rates amnesty is a different matter. So what we have done from the Ministry of Local Government's perspective, we have given the amnesty period to the ratepayers who have their rates in arrears. So if you pay your rates now, effective from 1st January 2023 to 31st July 2023, you don't have to pay any interest. You will only be required to pay the principal amount.
As it is, people are finding it hard to pay, and you are giving us, for that we are suggesting 11%, it's been 11% at the moment, and gentlemen have stood up and said 5%. For me, for that rate to be paid off, I think we just forget about the interest and ask them to pay the actual amount that they are owing. It'd be a boost for them try to pay up, otherwise we're giving them that and they don't pay. So for me, it's very important for them to pay just the amount that they owe. And secondly, about I agree with my sister that it was said about everything from the town rate, what are we getting for paying town rates. And for the age of retirement, I go along with the government, 60 years. And the other one, I've been in Rakiraki for 30 years now. I have a property in living in a residential area in Tumani. This is the first time that I'm hearing. The second, I just turned back to see and asked, is there a squatter settlement here? And it's just news to me, eh? This is Rakiraki. I haven't heard about squatter settlement within the town boundaries. I heard over the last week in Sino, somebody was saying the squatters shouldn't have a say in making decision on election. I'm just wondering, that's my grandfather sitting down there from my side, and I didn't know that he was squattering here. I mean, just wondering, who is the owner of that piece of land? Why is it not developed? Because he's just living right next to town. Why he was not given for that piece of land for him to buy and the title, so that he'd be included in the decision making, whatever. Because at least it is, we are the one paying. Yeah, and we make the decision of whatever goes on. And as for him, that was not his fault. I think this is the good time sitting down here for me to see the say that it's his squattering here. And for the ratepayers to be making decisions, those who are paying ratepayers. And it's a special case. We have to look into that. And what else? I mean, that's 60 years of age, 60 years, and the term rate. It should come in. There's a question for me this afternoon. I want to know the rate that have been collected from the residential area. I'll be talking because I'm a resident. The rate has been collected. Does it come and stay here with the town councils, or it comes to the government?
Do you mean the rates that are collected? It comes from the ratepayers.
The ratepayers, it goes back to government?
Council. It goes to the council because the councils are expected to deliver the services by using those rates.
It's good to know. Thank you very much. If these rates are not being paid after 31st of July, what actions by law would be taken to the tenants, to the ratepayers?
Yes, with this type of process before, we are continuously following up with the red page, and then if that fails, we can take them up to court claims tribunal, where our complaint will be at the tribunal. And if that stays still the same, with the process with the court system that we are trying to follow to ensure that all papers pay up to their rates.
And before, there were some that were being taken by to the small tribunal,
Yes, sir.
and you got your funds?
Yes, we got funds, some come up to the payment agreement.
Thank you, sir.
Up to this payment restoration.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Trancio. Thank you, Madam Director.
Thank you, sir. So just to add on to the CEO, what usually happens is if a ratepayer is facing hardship, then the councils are also providing payment plans. So the ratepayers can make arrangements with in your case with the Rakiraki Town Council to make the payment to the council based on your income and your expenditure. So the councils can carry out a means test to understand your financial position before you actually can enter into payment plan. So if by 31st July you're not able to do the payment, then come 1st August, those are some of the options you will have. The other option is deduction at source. You can get your employer to get the deductions done for you at source.
As Rana just said, Nangoro has been taken out of the boundary. Waruku, will they be now included in Dolasi?
So I understand it's a no yet. We will, of course, explore as to how we can go about doing it. Yeah, but no promises.
So, Madam, this is a question. The question was from you people that the age,
Yes, retirement
the
age.
first thing was it must be 55. Why? Because the new ideas will come, the new people working there, the new guys coming up, they will put their new ideas to develop this. Because some people are just sitting there and doesn't get much education, they don't have it. So that's my answer to make it 55. And the second one was about the
Defaulting interest.
right, the rate. I mean the interest rate. It must be 7.5%. Otherwise, people will be not paying. They will not bother. Just like the previous, I just like to ask the CEO that from how long this balance is there, the credit that is owing to the people. So how long does it, from how many years?
Thank you very much for the question. Rakiraki was established in 2010. So this Rakiraki starts from 2010, when the first rates were charged to the residents. From 2010. 2013 till now, that's the accumulation.
That's the amount you, I mean, from 2013 to 2022. Yes.
2022.
So long. So what you have been done for that so long time? Why it's taking so long time?
Yes, we know that some of the ratepayers they are facing difficulties in paying their rates, and then come the pandemic and the flood that has been facing the rate. That's why some of the ratepayers they were finding it difficult to pay their rates. So we've been going around to all the ratepayers who are defaulters. We've been asking them if they have difficulty, we can have a payment plan. Then they can assist them in the payment rate.
The ratepayers, I mean, you have written something to them?
Yes, yes, sir, yes.
So, yeah, because about from 19 it was COVID, so leave that. What about from 21 is already, everybody is standing on their legs now. So they can pay. Yeah. And another question for you, if just like a complaint, it's not a complaint about you, just like people, Mr. Joe said that the other main company at the back, the train stinks. As same as I'm staying at the back of New York, it stinks. So I don't blame you that you have done it, but please look in that matter. And the last meeting, I told that about the parking meters. Because we stay here, we can't park the cars anytime. All the workers, they park it from the morning to 5 o'clock. So we want to buy something from hardware, we can't park the vehicles. I told you people, I mean the council, to implement the meters, that for 1 hour is the limit. So if you can help it out somehow.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That is very soon we're going to have the parking meters in the...
Oh, very soon as possible, please. That will be better. Yeah. I'm very frustrated about parking every time. We have to go big round and round and round. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have 5 minutes more. So, if you have any other questions before we say goodbye to each other. Anyone who has not spoken? Yes.
We would like to hear from someone who has not spoken.
Thank you very much, madam. And let me be the last speaker. And I know madam also has to go a couple of minutes. And I do agree with what Mr. Siraz has said on the retirement age. Why? Because we end high school in 18 and then by 24 we are graduated, and then if you can't do anything in your life till 55, then please ask yourself. And I think so 55 is a good age, that because we also have people behind us after 55 who are waiting for a job somewhere, and in special situations where you may need expertise and which is not available. So in that situations, rather than recruiting people from overseas, we use expertise who are there with a age of maybe 55 plus, and there should be special conditions in that if we are re-employing or re-engaging someone after 55. So for example, after 55, there should be an annual requirement of medical certificate, and then contract should only be 1 year based. So that means if 55, if you are being re-engaged, you prove that you are medically fit, and then it's on annual basis. And next is on the rates. I think so. It should be reduced. It should be reduced. But if a ratepayer is constantly defaulting his rate, then it should be on compound interest, because you cannot treat a defaulter who is been default for only 1 year and a defaulter who has been defaulting for the past 10 or 13 years. You cannot treat these two ratepayers same at the same interest rate. And next, I think so what Madam said about what is the value we get out of
the town council after paying rate. Like a town should look like a town. And in Rakiraki, I truly agree with one of our speakers who said that some of the villages look nicer and beautiful than what our towns are. And then we have got street lights in villages. They are not ratepayers. They are normal citizens of Fiji. We are ratepayers, yet we are in darkness. And then these are the places where it's heavily populated. We have got commercial businesses here, and then majority of the money is circulating here in the town areas. So we should have secured areas. Like I said, areas should be having street lights, as well as together in consultation, maybe town council and police force to have frequent patrols and things like that. And next, for the town council, I think so. It's not easy for a small town like Rakiraki to be operational and then providing with the amount of ratepayers we have and the amount of money that is going in form of rates to our council to provide the services that all require. So I think so in any point in time in small municipalities, government assistance would always be needed to function. Otherwise, if you look at the pay of the CEO and then other people there, the amount of rate that is paid by the ratepayers, I think so that will become to an equilibrium, and then nothing will be left for any capital projects that people we demand out of our local governments. So for that we can't say that okay, your demand is more and then you pay more rates. It should be equal. And next, I think so. Just a suggestion, madam, that we look into the scale of workers, office administrators, and the mayor, councillors, compared to the other large municipalities. Like what I'm trying to say, madam, is that a councillor in Nasinu should have a different pay scale as compared to a councillor in Rakiraki, compared to the amount of ratepayers and the amount of money that is generated here through rates. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, sir, for your contribution, and thanks for rounding it up for us, actually. I just have one question on the defaulting interest rate. You are saying that if a ratepayer continues with the arrears, then the compound interest should be charged. Do you have any duration for that? How long can the ratepayer continue freely?
Yeah, if it is 5 years or more defaulting rates, then I can say you can implement 11%. But for 1 year default or 2 year default, then I think so it should come down to 5% or even 4% or even 3%.
Just the last question. What the policies of environment throwing rubbish on the streets? I think it was like $40 to be paid.
Yes, it's according to the Vita Act.
Probably it's not been implemented in a high scale.
Yes.
Probably that would be. My point over here is that in the morning when I go and do my banking, when I see the rubbish on the streets, doing pop sticks, I pick it and I put it into the. That is how I feel very proud of my country. You see in Australia and New Zealand now that small kids, they don't throw. They ask the mom, hey, where's the rubbish bin? So that attitude has to be changed. But that $40, that fine, I think that has been not implemented.
So actually the act is enforced, and I understand Rakiraki Town Council is facing some challenges in terms of anti-litter officers or litter officers, litter prevention officers, LPOs. So we are working with Department of Environment to assist the council. So I suppose once that happens, CEO, and if you can push for it, we need to make sure that we are able to enforce the legislation accordingly. Otherwise, I think the mindset of the residents are that they can throw rubbish anywhere, everywhere. Yeah. But thanks for raising that issue, sir. I think that's one issue that we are facing in a lot of municipalities. Financial constraints are there, resource constraints are there. If the constraints were not there, then we would have been able to deliver more than effectively.
And also, Madam, to the CO, what happens to the garbage from Nangoro, Wairuk, and Dalasi? It's not been collected by the council.
Right now, we see the extended boundary collection from it's a grant from the government. Yes, subsidy. So we are collecting from all these extended areas. Those are some of the extended areas that we've identified.
And the government pay.
And the government pays.
So they take the advantage. So take the advantage. And those people who are in the boundary area, they pay. And they don't pay, the government pays for them.
Yes,
it's very unfair. Very unfair.
Because they were in town boundary.
Very unfair.
Yes, can I make one clarification? For those in town areas, we have 3 days collection.
Yes, sir.
And within the CBD, it's 6 days per week. Outside town boundary, they are just collected twice in a week.
But still they collect, you know.
Still they collect.
And they collect free. And these people, they pay in these areas, the boundaries. Madam, if that can be...
Thank you. Yeah, that's one area we are looking into actually. So when you say delegated areas, these were the areas that were looked after by the rural local authority. So for that, the government is providing waste collection subsidy, which the councils use to pay the costs associated for solid waste management in the delegated areas. We are trying to have those boundaries extended so they can come into town boundaries where they will become ratepayers and will be expected to pay rates.
I'll give you a very good example. When I visited on the property elevation program in China. China, that country, no handout. Full stop, no handout. And they're doing very well in the world. Once you get a lot of handouts, that's a problem. You make the people lazy. You need to work hard.
Yes.
You need to, as a man, I'm not an animal, I'm a man. That is my prime duty for my country at large.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. For your statement. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to an end on this consultation. I would like to take this time on behalf of the Minister, the Assistant Minister, the Permanent Secretary, Director Local Government, the team from the Fiji Elections Office, to thank you all for taking time out from your busy schedule to come and attend this public consultation, share with us your thoughts and your proposal that the team will definitely take on board and put it forward to the working group that will be putting together the paper for the cabinet. Once again, thank you very much for coming. Your attendance this evening is much appreciated by the team. Tulang sa kanila.
Good night.